Rural areas in Ukraine are exposed to higher risks of losses due to fires because the state emergency service units are located mainly in cities. Since the beginning of the full-scale war, the number of fires in Ukraine has increased significantly. In the last 9 months alone, due to military actions, the emergency services have been dispatched to more than 6,000 fire cases.
Roads have seen better times, and the response of professional rescuers take much more time to get due to the state of the roads.
The determined response time to a fire in the Ukrainian countryside, when there is a chance to successfully save people and property, is 20 minutes. However, in practice, it is still more than an hour in many areas. At the same time, the number of firefighters in Ukraine per 1,000 inhabitants is 7 times lower than in the EU countries.
As a result, even before the start of a full-scale war, 3 times more people died from fires in Ukraine. Our village is quite big. If there is a fire truck in our village, is it possible to get to the fire twice as fast and save more property? God forbid, of course, and save people. It is possible to get there sooner than the state fire service from Kamenka-Shersky will reach us. Since the full-scale war with the Russian aggressor, the situation worsened significantly. Missiles are flying near us. God forbid there is a fire, and our team can help save and prevent any fire that can cause more harm. So what is the way out of this situation? In Western countries, the solution was found more than 100 years ago. It is the creation of volunteer fire brigades in all settlements, from the smallest to the largest. Thanks to familiarization with advanced international and Ukrainian experience and individual expert support, the majority of communities have chosen the common European organizational and legal form of volunteer fire brigade in the form of a public organization. For our village, this is a very significant event, the opening of a volunteer fire brigade. We live in a marshy area, and pitch can catch fire very quickly in the summer due to the heat. By the time the team of firefighters arrives from Kamenka-Shersky, the fire would be in full, and it would be very difficult to put out and eliminate it.
Why did we decide on the volunteer fire brigades? Because the financial burden in this case will be smaller for the community. This is the first point. And the second point is the involvement of citizens, since most fires occur due to careless fire handling during the burning of garbage and various plant residues.
Ukraine needs to create at least another 700 volunteer fire brigades in addition to state units. And Ukraine's potential is 7,000 volunteer fire brigades, that is a team in each starosta district. That is why, starting in 2021, civil protection projects at the local level are a priority for the FSM in Ukraine. These are teams of at least 12 volunteers, and people are trained to respond quickly to the various conditions they encounter. Any community is a center where life is not normal without safety and comfort, and people will not stay there for long.
During this time, the fund helped more than 120 communities in Ukraine in the amount of more than 16 million hryvnias, contributed to the creation of almost 15 new voluntary fire brigades, trained 600 volunteers. 90% of all volunteers trained in Ukraine during this time. They also created the first publicly accessible knowledge base on civil protection issues, wognebortsi.in.ua, thanks to which the safety of 2.4 million residents of these communities increased.
Firefighters strengthening resilience of Ukrainian communities through local civil safety volunteer organizations. Project implemented in 2023-2024 is a natural continuation of this activity.
During the work of the fund in this direction, more than 500 communities addressed it with the request for the creation and development of volunteer fire brigades. Because of this, they had to be selected on a competitive basis. And in the end, the 8 most motivated ones were chosen out of 70 communities that successfully had passed the stage of submitting applications for participation in the project.
We already have more than 30 volunteer fire brigades in the region and more than 50 local fire brigades. We have more than 20 settlements that are not covered by the state emergency service. That is why they are served by these volunteer fire brigades. If a volunteer fire brigade is created in the territory of their community, they have a chance to get help in a difficult hour. When in fact there will be a fire, a road accident, or some situations, for example, related to war, God forbid. Then help will come much faster than under the conditions when these volunteer fire brigades does not exist. This is work with society, it is prevention. If these preventive measures are carried out correctly, these emergencies will occur less often. Also, thanks to the project, the participating communities began to cooperate with their neighbors to increase the safety level. Ustia village is a territory surrounded by forests, and at the same time we are an agricultural area, and there were many fires due to the hot summer. There were 12 fires, and we extinguished 4 of them together with the Sosnivka territorial community, with which we signed a memorandum of cooperation. And it was this memorandum that was one of the positive aspects of joining the Fighters project.
During the project, 96 volunteers received special knowledge and practical skills to carry out activities related to fire extinguishing, emergency rescue and other emergency work under the State Emergency Service curriculum.
The situation there has improved significantly. The boys are already taking an active part in extinguishing fires. In particular, there were among other forest fires, fires in the steppe zone, and extinguishing of farm premises. Throughout the project implementation, the participating communities received regular legal and informational consultations on the topic of creation and support of the volunteer fire brigades activities from experienced Ukrainian and international experts. Ukraine is a unique place. Not only do these projects work here, they are accepted, but they exceeded our expectations every time. Because the level of motivation to develop, to gain the experience but make it your own, and the professionalism which with you do it, are very rare.
Being able to have to support society as a whole through that lens. In the U.S., we have this in smaller communities. This is also a model that we sometimes use as well.
To successfully perform its functions of saving people and property, the FSM handed over fire and medical equipment worth more than 127,000 to 8 territorial communities, covering not only the basic needs of the communities, such as sets of fire protective clothing, helmets, gloves, fire boots, belts and balaclavas, as well as first aid kits and automatic external defibrillators, but also responding to individual requests, namely walkie-talkies, fog nozzle and fire hoses, head ladders, fire extinguishers, axes, pike poles, shovels, dielectric scissors, lanterns, chainsaws, generators, motor pumps, rugs for combat clothing, protective masks, gas masks, and many more other. I want it not to be a finish, but you know, as they say, every finish is a new beginning. This should be a new start for a volunteer firefighting in our country. And we could create volunteering in our country at such a level that our partners and colleagues would come to us and adopt our experience and implement it in their countries.